everything's going. All right, let me this. Could you scoot to the, you're right, just a little bit. Okay, good. I just want to set it up on the wall so it looks nice. All right. We're recording the interview of Christine Ricciardo. The interview is being conducted by Adrian Hill and David Morse from the Wright State University Veteran Voices Project. This interview is being recorded at Wright State University in Dayton, Ohio. It is 11:20 a.m. on June 10th, 2016. All right, Christine. We'll start out with when and where were you born?
Newark, Ohio, in September 7th, 1962.
Okay, and who were your parents and what were their occupations?
I was raised by my grandmother, and she was a baker for a university.
Okay. Did either your grandparents or anybody close family serve in the military?
No.
No? The only one? Okay. Any siblings?
Yes.
Names? No. Okay. Did any of them serve in the military?
No.
You said no? Okay. All right. So what were you doing before you entered the service then?
I joined right out of high school.
Okay.
I graduated a year early and joined when I was 17 and went active when I was 18.
Oh, okay. So did you do like your basic training this summer before you graduated or anything like that? I know they do that now, but no. Okay. So what, I guess what made you decide that you were going to join right out of high school?
Knowing the skills that I had, I knew I didn't want to be a waitress for the rest of my life, so I wanted to find something where I could do something.
Yeah.
And the recruiters had come to school, I think it was the year before, and I was just out driving around one day and drove by the recruiter's office, and I said, that's better than being a waitress. And thankfully, they didn't put me in the mess hall for my entire career.
Okay. So why, you said you served in the
Air Force.
Air Force, okay. And you enlisted. Why the Air Force then?
Honestly, because the Navy door was locked. They were out at lunch and the Air Force door was open. They were right next to each other. And
Well, same thing happened to me, except it was Air Force and Army, and I picked an Air Force door. Well, actually, nobody was at the front desk, and I waited for like 10 minutes. Nobody showed up, so I walked across the hall to the Army. So I can relate to you on that.
just, I think it was a month ago, I got one of those Facebook messages from someone, and I kept looking at the name. I know that name from somewhere, and as I read the message, it was from my recruiter. And I was polite, but I didn't thank him for lying to me 35 years ago.
Yeah. Yes, it does. I think everybody can kind of see that. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you kind of lied to me. Yeah. Okay. So do you recall departing for basic is it called basic training for you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you recall leaving for basic training?
Yes. It was my first airplane ride, and I remember when we got there looking around like, what did I get myself into? Basic training was a blast.
Mm-hmm.
We had several TIs, the training instructors. The male got relocated somehow, quickly, and it was fun. I actually wanted to become a TI for a while, and didn't happen.
Yeah. Do you recall kind of what maybe feelings or emotions you were going through leaving home for the first time? Like, so the first time you're on an airplane, so the first time, kind of leaving in that way. Do you recall what that was like at all?
It was the first time I'd been away from my grandmother, other than, when she went camping or something, and I didn't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It was just a new adventure, and then once I got there, I started missing her, and
Mm-hmm.
it actually made our relationship more solid.
Oh. So did you get to communicate with her via letters and stuff like that while you were over there? Okay.
Care packages.
Oh.
That was always fun with the training instructor going through the box, going, you can't have that, you can't have that, you can't have that.
Yeah. Did she ever send anything good that you got to keep?
Oh, this is going to be so embarrassing, but she had this thing about sending me chocolate-covered cherries, and I'm allergic to cherries. I can't figure out why she did that. And the other thing, she sent me Garfield underwear.
Maybe she knew what was going to happen. They knew that they were going to go through it. Like,
Never thought of that. She's that kind of person.
I'll get her from hundreds of miles away.
Yeah.
Okay, so you said you recalled your TI instructors. Do you still remember their names or anything?
Yes. We had Elizabeth Budd, and she was just funny. She could not say my name. When mail call came around, I was usually just alphabet. and the male, I can't remember his name, something like Sutter or Sutton, and then we got a female staff sergeant. I can see her face, but I can't remember her name right now.
Okay. Anything memorable with any of the particular TI or the instructors there?
Yes. When you first go, it's not like the college thing where you gain the 20 pounds automatically. It's usually everybody loses weight. And I was walking between one building and another, and this female chief master sergeant passed by me, and she goes, "You are a disgrace to your uniform." And I went back to my TI crying because I'd lost 20 pounds in the first 30 days I was there. So everything was just hanging off of me. She goes, it's okay, just go get another uniform." "I'm at a disgrace."
Okay, all right. So, while you were at basic training, do you recall, maybe the change in food or anything like that? Did that affect you at all, or did you think it was all right? Were you kind of surprised when you saw it or anything like that?
I'm a vegetarian, so it was really hard for me to find a good meal no matter where I went.
Oh, wow.
Everybody on the planet thinks that they need to force feed you meat. So no, I'm used to being told to go out and graze in the grass. So
yeah. So were you are you still a vegetarian? Were you through your whole service?
yes.
So I bet that was a challenge then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, our the coordinator for our project that we do, she's a vegetarian as well, and she would probably get along with you well in that respect.
You kind of get tired of salad, but that's all they usually offer.
Yeah, that's rough. Wow. All right. Well, so how do you think you adapted to that military lifestyle? The regiment, the food, the barracks, the social life.
I'm the type of person that likes things in order. You tell me to do A, B, C, and D, I'm not going to do A, B, D, C. And I appreciate that. My first assignment was in SAC, which is the kind of, this is what the rules say, you do what the rules say. It's not, we'll put the rules over here and do what we want. So I love that part of my career.
Okay. So you like the adjustment then?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, so after your basic training, what was next for you?
I had orders to go to Michigan, but they had me under the wrong career field. So then I got sent to Biloxi, Mississippi.
Okay.
And that was, it was 10 weeks for administrative training.
Okay. And I forgot to ask, where was your basic training at?
San Antonio, Texas.
Okay, in Texas. All right. So, any other specialized training besides your admin training then?
Not there. Once I got into different jobs, I would have different training. I went through a train the trainer program. We had a lot of people, when I got here, a lot of people that were having trouble passing their CDC career development course, or I forget what it's called. And they would teach us how to train someone to study that. And I actually found out one young lady had trouble reading, and that's why she was having trouble passing her course.
Okay, gotcha. So did you enjoy that kind of training then, or?
Yes.
Okay, so you were admin the whole time you were in, right?
Yes.
Because you were in 20 years, right?
Yes.
So I'm guessing you did kind of a wide variety of jobs while you're in there. What was your favorite duty station, I guess?
I really didn't have a favorite all around. My favorite job when I was in California was personal mail. People would come in and get all happy because they got a letter from their parents or from their loved one. And then I went into doing the professional mail where you would drive around from office to office. And I did that for a majority of my career. I loved California because of the people. I'm still in contact with them. I talked to a friend last night that I haven't seen in 35 years, but we were in the same dorm together. I came back from Japan to go to her wedding. My favorite place as far as the beauty of it was Okinawa, Japan. Least favorite would have to be Fort Meade, Maryland, NSA.
Couldn't get away with anything there, huh?
You can't scrub your brain from that stuff. There's not enough bleach in the world.
Yeah. All right, so just kind of a quick overview. I know you mentioned a couple of them there, but can you just take us, for the best of your memory, where your service took you, location to location?
San Antonio, Texas. The basic training was 6 weeks. Biloxi, Mississippi for training, career field training was 10 weeks. And then I was at Castle Air Force Base, California for 20 months. And then I went to Okinawa, Japan for 18 months. Rackline Air Station, Crete, Greece for 18 months. Fort George D, Maryland for 14 months. And then right back for the rest of my career.
And how long was that?
13 years.
13 years, okay. So how did you go from jumping around so much to ending up staying in one place for so long?
I was brought back here on a humanitarian for my grandparents.
Okay.
And when my grandfather died, it just kind of went on for my grandmother, so it was actually for 2.
Okay, so they let you stay here to be with your family?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they did that. That's nice.
Yeah, the Army calls it hardship, I think.
Okay.
And the Air Force is humanitarian.
Oh, interesting. All right. So, serving abroad, you said you were in Greece and Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any memorable, stories or memories from that you cherish?
One I always found funny, being in California, I never felt an earthquake. I didn't feel the one that was here in 1978, I think, because I was on this big slab of cement. Everybody's going, oh, we're having an earthquake. And I'm going, what? Never one in California. I get to Japan, and I'm standing around talking with friends, and all of a sudden we're going like this. And we're going, all right, earthquake. But we look up, and it was, Okinawa has a dual runway.
Mm-hmm.
We saw every plane and helicopter taking off at once. Everybody zoom, zoom, zoom. And we found out that was when the Korean airliner was shot down, and they were all taking off trying to find survivors.
Oh, wow.
So if you're going from, it's kind of like a 9/11 moment.
Yeah.
Everybody's going, what's going on?
Right. So, did you guys kind of have increased security after that for a while?
Oh, yes.
For the rest of your time there?
No.
No?
No.
Okay. So did you, being that you were over in Japan and Greece during the Cold War years, correct? Did you ever get a sense, or can you maybe let people who weren't maybe even alive during that time, what was that? What was kind of going through your head on a regular basis regarding that? Did you?
Well, when I was in Greece, the head of the KKE, which is the Greek version of the KGB, his wife worked on base. And I asked someone in OSI, I said, how can you have her here when he does that? And they said, because we can keep an eye on her here. And every once in a while you try to go off base to go home or to go out somewhere, and you're stuck on base because the KKE was protesting by the gate. Or you couldn't get into work because they were there. Mm-hmm. And I was there when the bombing happened at Bobby's, which is a bar that a lot of the service members went to in Athens. Mm-hmm. And we were in heightened security at that point. And after it started settling down, someone from Life magazine came on base and they were interviewing people. And this young woman that was 18 and fresh out of Iowa was being interviewed. And she's standing here facing me, the interviewer standing here facing her. Mm-hmm. And the interviewer said, well, where do you guys go now that place has been bombed? And I looked at my friend and I went, she goes, we stay on base. Yes, thank you for saying that.
Yeah, because that would have been, nope, can't go to that one anymore.
Yeah. I understand the need to ask the question, but
sure.
It's just not the time.
Yeah, well, interviewers are always pry for the information. It's up to us to kind of not say anything. So did you feel like the people maybe in Greece then were hostile towards Americans then?
Yes, they didn't want us there. Without going into details, they were killing our animals. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Okay. Well, so you think overall, just the majority of the population in Greece didn't want us there?
Yes.
And this was during what year? What years?
85.
Okay. What about in Japan?
They are the most gentle, loving, accepting people. I would go back in a heartbeat, but not as a military person.
Right.
I was out having dinner with a friend one night, and this Army guy came in, maybe a Marine, I don't remember which, but he came in, he was really drunk, and he's going, oh, my brothers in Beirut are being killed, you don't understand. Really drunk. And all of a sudden his arm is around me and starts going this way. Mm-hmm. And the mama-san, I don't know if she was the owner or the waitress or whatever, they were just called mama-sans.
Mm-hmm.
She was scared. My friend and I were scared. And the only thing I could think to do was to threaten the guy. And I actually scared him till he left. And the mama son is, arigato, arigato, arigato. So yeah, sometimes you have to pick your battles. And I was ready to battle because this is not yours.
Right. Absolutely. Well, good for you. So, and it was Greece and Japan. Those were the only two overseas
Assignments, yes.
Okay.
I did go to Germany a couple of times. One was right after Rhine-Main had been bombed.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, if there was a DEF CON level for that, they didn't have it marked high enough because
Sure.
everybody was terrified.
Yeah. What was security like after that then?
It was really tight.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure you've seen Right Pat when they're, even if it's just an exercise where people are lined up trying to get on base. It was pretty much like that. They're checking everything. They had the mirrors to go underneath the cars. Mm-hmm. People were getting out to have their cars inspected. It was bad.
Okay. So, what kind of friendships and camaraderie did you make while you were during your stay in the military?
A lot of people, you really consider them family. My friend Judy that I told you I talked to, we just picked right up. Hey, do you remember when we met Gabe? And this is the man she married. And just a great group of people. And then other people, you're like, you really don't want to be in front of me when I'm armed. Mm-hmm. You just don't have a clue how stupid you are. Yeah.
All right. So, you said you adjusted pretty well to the military lifestyle, but what about the social aspect of it? Jumping in, like you said, there were some people who just, don't mess with me, and then some you could get along with. Did you, how do you think you fared, I guess, compared to others maybe, with, adjusting to being thrown into people who you've never met before from different parts of the country? How do you think you handled that?
I think it was all right. Mm-hmm. I didn't grow up as an only child because I had my aunt who was older than me. Mm-hmm. But, you have your own room, toys, everything, and then you're thrown in this room with 50 women and the showers and the bathrooms and everything. You're just together all the time. You're kind of, I don't know if I can handle this. Mm-hmm. And then you just kind of do this, okay, we're all one big happy family. Mm-hmm. You can have a few oddballs. Maybe I was one of the oddballs once in a while, but that's the way everybody, I mean, even in classrooms here. Sometimes you sit there going, I think you need to settle.
Yeah. Well, so what year did you enlist?
81.
81. Women had been in the military already, but it was less common for a woman to join the military. How did your grandparents react when you told them you were going to enlist? Were they, were they supportive or?
My grandmother's supportive. Mm-hmm. She took me to the movie Private Benjamin mm-hmm. with a friend of hers. And the whole time they're laughing hysterically, going, "That's you. That is so you. You're not going to make it. You don't take crap from anybody." Huh. It was an adjustment, mm-hmm. and I don't know that I would do it again. It's one of those things where you sit back, going, "Okay, if you do the pros and cons, the pros definitely outweigh the cons." Mm-hmm. And then you're going, "But that con, I don't know if I can handle that one again."
Sure. So what about friends? Were all your friends from high school or anything like that? Was anybody surprised maybe or anything like that, or did you think, or was this a typical thing that people were doing then?
No, most of the people I went to school with went to college, mm-hmm. and some actually went in during college. Some waited until after college. I was a little bit surprised that more didn't write. And I try to encourage people, send the cards to the wounded warriors at, I can't remember the hospital.
Walter Reed?
Thank you, Walter Reed. That's the main thing that people talk about is, I got a letter from home. Mm-hmm. And doing the personal mail, I know how important it is. So even while I was active duty and friends were overseas, I'd send them care packages.
Mm-hmm. That's nice. So what about, besides the letters and care packages, how else did you stay in touch with your family and friends when you were, not just in basic training, you talked about that a little bit, but, overseas, at different stations around the country, how did you stay in touch?
I would call my grandmother from Japan, and the Japanese cannot say my name to save their lives. They couldn't say my name. You couldn't say it either.
Mm-hmm.
But I would forget about the time change.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to call through the Audubon, which was you'd call the operator, you'd wait a couple of hours, they'd get in contact with the person, and then they'd get you back on the line. And I would hear her say, "Correct to call a Swiss chard?" And my grandmother, sound asleep at 2 o'clock, and I'm like, "No, click." Damn it. Try again.
So because they couldn't pronounce it, your grandma didn't know who it was.
Swiss chard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's real close.
Yeah. All right. Well, interesting. Any other ways? Did you? I know some people if they didn't have access to the phone, they would send tapes back home or anything like that. Did you have kids or anything?
No.
No. Okay. So you didn't have to. You didn't do any of those recordings or anything then.
No, my aunt did one with my grandmother and her 2 children and sent that to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that was
Okay.
that was good.
All right. So what about recreation while you were in maybe Greece and Japan specifically?
I was on the volleyball team in Japan. I'm sorry, in Greece, and my friends and I would just get on our bicycles and ride everywhere throughout Japan. Just had a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the Southeast Botanical Gardens. Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Just beautiful place.
Okay. What about Greece?
My friends went horseback riding, and somehow I got invited to go. I'm not sure how, and found out I'm allergic to horses.
Oh.
Yeah, great big welts about that big.
Oh.
That was a fun emergency room trip.
Yeah. Wow. So you'd never been around horses before that then, really?
No.
No. Well, did you ever get to sightsee in Europe? I know you said you went, you liked Okinawa, it's beautiful, you got to see some of that, but what about in Europe?
I went to Japan twice, like I said.
Mm-hmm.
One was medical and one was a vacation. And I was at Wiesbaden. And I was in this park and I'm looking around going, what is wrong here? And I figured it out. There wasn't a piece of dirt out of place. No trash. Everything was just gorgeous.
And where was this?
Wiesbaden in Germany.
Oh, okay.
And I still see that when I come here. In my mind, I see that gorgeous park, and then people here, oh, I'm done with that smoothie,
Yeah.
and throw it. And I'm so ashamed of Americans when we do that.
Mm-hmm.
My friend and I, when we go hiking, we take trash bags and the little litter picker-upper things.
Mm-hmm.
Can't stand it.
That's nice. The unsung heroes right here. All right. So you were in, where were you when Cold War ended?
Here.
Right, Pat?
Yes, I worked the peace talks.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So what was what was going through your head then during, when that happened? Because obviously the whole time you'd been in the military, we'd been, an adversary. So what was that?
When you have the different threat con levels or DEF cons or whatever they're calling them this week, you're always looking around. Is someone trying to get on base that's not supposed to be getting on base, or they calling and trying to get information they're not supposed to get? And after the Cold War was over, you kind of just did a little, okay, I can step back. I don't have to be as vigilant. Mm-hmm. You're still vigilant, but you're not weary of everybody and everything. Mm-hmm. And I learned that the propaganda that they were selling, that the Russians were selling to their public, we were kind of selling to us too. They're all out, all of them are out to get us.
Right.
Well, all of us are out to get them, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of bad guys, but we were better bad guys.
Okay. So have you said you've talked to a couple of them that you haven't seen in years, but how else, have you stayed in contact or maybe reunited with some of your other veterans?
My first supervisor when I was in California, she called when I was at my grandmother's house and came to visit. And I hadn't seen her since 81. This was probably in the late 90s when this happened. Facebook, telephone, letters. I'm a national adjutant for Women Veterans of America, and we're having our conference in September, and I'm sending the invitation out to all my women veteran friends. And the one that I talked to on the phone the other night, she's considering going. So we might actually get to see each other after 35, 36 years.
Wow. Interesting. And what is it called, that association you're a part of?
Women Veterans of America.
Okay. And what is your position with them?
National Adjutant.
Okay. How big is that organization? What all does it encompass?
I think we have about 600 members. I'm not quite sure of the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the conference every 2 years, so they get people to come in, and this is the year of the military woman. I think it's a national thing that they're doing, not just women veterans. But their idea this year is to inspire and empower, and we are advocates for women veterans. Got an email from one young lady that said that she was sexually assaulted and she's not getting any help from anyone. What can I do? What can I do? Mm-hmm. And I forwarded that to the national commander, and she's getting her in touch with someone that can help her. And it's just, a lot of people say going to the VA is bad because they don't understand. You can't sit there and talk about sexual assault to a man kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So the VA actually has a women's center there now. Mm-hmm. So you can talk to females about female problems or female medical problems kind of thing. And
and the Women's Center at the VA is in part thanks to the organization that you're part of.
It's not just us, but people fighting for it. A friend of mine went, she had a problem with her foot, goes to the emergency room. They didn't know what to do with her as far as putting her in her room because there aren't any, they didn't want to put a man and a woman in the same room overnight. So they put her in the mental ward because they could have a female room just for her. So these are the things that we're trying to not fight but correct.
Right. Wow. Okay.
And the VAs have been very open to, getting help.
Right.
We don't know what to do. What can you tell us to do? Kind of thing. That's great.
That's good. Okay. So once you got out of the military, what year did you get out?
2001.
Okay. Was this before or after September 11th?
Before.
Before. Okay. How did you readjust from going, from 20 years of military life to back to civilian life?
It was nice to actually have a vacation for a while. Most of my military career, my vacation was emergency leave. Mm-hmm. So I actually got to take a trip, which I hadn't been able to do. And
was that when you went back to Japan for vacation, or?
No, I went to Vegas.
Oh.
Just hadn't been able to chill. Mm-hmm. Got a couple of jobs. Worked in a storage place, Dollar General, Time Warner Cable. Don't hold it against me. Evil Empire. That's what I call them.
Yeah, well, I think you and a long list of other people. So
that's they could go work for Fort Meade. An ink company. And then I worked in Sinclair and Wright State.
Okay. Do you still work?
No.
No? Okay. So what about any other veterans organizations that you're part of besides the one you'd already mentioned?
I've been a member of American Legion, non-commissioned officers, not VFW. They don't. I'm not a veteran of a war, so I would be auxiliary, which to me is the Wives Club.
Right.
And a friend of mine actually gave me one of their forms, and I read through it. And part of their oath is that you have to believe in God to be a part of the organization. And I'm so. The two have nothing to do with each other.
Sure.
So I just told him no, I'm not interested.
I understand that. Yeah, they're going through a big thing right now with the auxiliary, because they have the men's auxiliary and the women's auxiliary, and they're shifting it. And there's a lot of resistance from the older VFW members. This is for this part. So, yeah, they are making some changes though that I know of. Okay, so how did the military affect your life overall? I'll give you a second for that one.
Was I in the military?
Yeah.
I don't actually know how to answer that.
Okay. Well, I've got a couple that are kind of around the same. So maybe if I ask it a little different. What life lessons did you learn from your military service?
I didn't know it was going to be a quiz.
Sorry.
Don't know how to answer that one either.
Okay, well, what about your military service, being in the military? How does that? How's it impacted your feeling? Maybe from before you entered to now, your feelings towards the military in general. Did it kind of give you a different view, or?
No, real quick story for you.
Sure.
When I was little, was during Vietnam, and my grandmother's second son was in Vietnam, and she was in bed crying one night, and I said, "What's wrong?" And she just barely was able to squeak out. She just said, "Vietnam." And I said, "But Uncle Jim is home." And she said, "Other mothers' sons are still there."
Mm-hmm.
And that just gave me a love for the country and our military people. And maybe that's why I went over and pulled on the door to join.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but that's a life lesson that I will not let go of. We are still family.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, there are people that I'd like to smack upside the head because they just didn't get it. As far as, yes, I know you're an officer and I'm enlisted and I'm supposed to respect your rank, but when you're acting like a turd,
yeah,
I'm not going to go, "Yes, sir."
I understand that. All right, well, this is another one of those questions. I need a second to think. But what is there any message you would like to leave? Because this is going to be a Library of Congress, so if somebody's looking up, maybe female veterans during the Cold War, they could find your story. Is there any message you would want to leave for anybody who could view it? It could be, maybe younger women who are thinking about joining the military, or another veteran who's just looking through there for general interest. But what would you want to say?
For female veterans, or females wanting to go in the military, I'd say learn to stand up for yourself. I had a Chief Master Sergeant try to force me to sign a piece of paper, and I said, "I will not sign that." And he goes, "You'll do as I tell you." And I said, "When it's a lawful order, I will." I had a Chief Master Sergeant try to tell me to do something illegal. I told him I wouldn't do it. And that's not a military thing for me. That's my grandmother raised me to stand up for myself. Thank you, Graham. For anyone wanting to know about the military and whether they should go in or not, don't believe the recruiters. Watch Private Benjamin.
It's exactly like that.
There are no yachts.
Right.
If you want to go to Japan, put that you want to go to Greece, because whatever you say, the military will do the opposite.
They seem to do that, don't they? Yeah. I definitely didn't put Afghanistan on my application. I don't know about you, Dave.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything that we didn't discuss that you feel should be added to the interview? Anything in particular you thought you were definitely going to tell me today?
The VA has a stand down every once in a while, and that's taking veterans out, and you get the little booths like you did here, but the what was that called?
Veterans Moving Forward.
Yes, that kind of thing. Information, plus you get a free lunch, and they have giveaways, soaps and clothes and stuff like that. And the Women Veterans of America, the Chapter 6, which is here in Ohio, had a booth, and their adjutant was this was a men's stand down. Every time a guy would come up, they'd say, "Do you know any women veterans?" "Nope." Every one of them. "Nope, nope, nope, nope." And I said, "Let me ask it this way. Do you know any women that were in the military?" "Oh yeah, my sister's in the military." We're still not considered veterans by a lot of people. So we may be equal as far as getting the first female combat commander or something like that, but we're still not seen as equals.
Interesting.
And we're working on it.
All right. Was there anything else? Great. Well, thank you for doing this interview with us, and thank you for your service.
Thank you. Thank you for yours. Thank you for yours.